Welcome to Mid-Maryland Votes, where we talk across the aisle without burning any bridges. Tonight we're joined by Frederick County Sheriff Chuck Jenkins, a man who's never been shy about speaking his mind. Known for his tough-on-crime approach and firm stance on immigration, he brings decades of experience and straight talk to this table. No spin, just Sheriff Jenkins. Like, share, and follow for more real conversations that will still leave room for a couple slices of pizza. Welcome to Mid-Maryland Votes. I am your host, Mark Flynn. With me is my co-host,
Ethan Lowen.
And we have a very special guest tonight. Tonight we're sitting down with Frederick County's longtime sheriff, Chuck Jenkins. He's known for his tough-on-crime stance, strong support of the 287G program, and his no-nonsense leadership style. Love him or challenge him, you're going to hear straight talk on crime, immigration, and what it really takes to keep a county safe. Sheriff Jenkins, thank you so much for being here with us tonight.
My pleasure, and thank you.
Sheriff, you've served the county for over 2 decades. How would you describe the evolution of crime in the county, public safety, and what trends are you most concerned about you're seeing in public safety and crime in Frederick County?
Okay, just a little history about me. 36 years in law enforcement in Frederick County, 19 years now as sheriff. I'm in my 5th term, and certainly crime has changed, crime has evolved, and certainly law enforcement has changed in the way we deal with crime. Probably the most important factor. But some of the trends we're seeing right now, let me first say this. Frederick County, it's a fact. Frederick County is the most crime-free state, and I think by and large, it's the way we police in the county, the way I support my agency, my men and women, and a lot of it has to do. So the trends that we're seeing, of course, over the recent years have been the fentanyl that's come into our country, across our southern borders, killed our citizens. You know, drugs are still being trafficked. We still heavily enforce the drug laws. We are seeing a lot of internet crimes against children. That's a very up and coming criminal enterprise, if you will. We attack that very, very hard. We're seeing of course, the internet crimes, the internet scams, the fraud, the people that are victimized by internet crime, telephone fraud. That's a real problem here in Frederick County. But what we don't have in Frederick County is the violent street crime that you see all around us. You look at Montgomery County, PG County, south into Loudoun County, Virginia, you see violent gang crime. You see the violence, the carjackings, the muggings. We don't have that. This is the land of pleasant living in Frederick County.
In Frederick County, you guys have about less than 70% of the crime of the state average. 60% of the crime, kind of compared to Washington County, Frederick. Those are quite startling numbers. What do you attribute it to?
I attribute that to proactive policing. I allow my men and women to go out, I encourage and allow them to go out on the street, enforce the laws, traffic laws, criminal laws, investigate every case as it deserves to be investigated, serve the citizens the best we can. And I think at the end of the day, it all shakes out where if you go out there and you work hard in protecting this county, we are now seeing the results. Where other counties, I don't think they let their men and women go out and proactively police. I think that's a big difference. I back my men and women 100%. I'm not ashamed to say that. I'm not afraid to say that.
What is different about you, your leadership style, or what is it that is making your department different from all these other departments? Because I think I speak for police officers universally, even though I myself am not one, but they all want to be able to do that. They all want to be able to deliver that level of safety to the community. So why is it different in your department?
I guess because, number one, this is my county, my home, my family, my friends. I love Frederick County. This is my life, and I want to protect the people that live here. So as the opportunity that I've been sheriff for 19 years has allowed me to make decisions from the top seat that allows my men and women to go out there and do their jobs. It's what they signed on to do, to serve and protect, correct? They want to do it. I allow them to do it. And when things go bad, I will stand beside them, in front of them, and I will back them all the way. And they know that. I'm even getting officers that come up here from Montgomery County, Frederick County, because they say, Sheriff, we know you have our back. They're not allowed to do that in other counties. They're taking $10,000 pay cuts to come to Frederick County.
That's excellent. Thank you, sir. So you mentioned earlier about the fentanyl coming across the border, which brings me to my next question. Frederick County has participated in the 287G program for years, making you one of the few sheriffs in Maryland that cooperated with ICE from the very beginning. What impact has that program actually had on public safety here in Frederick County, and how do you respond to critics who call it divisive or ineffective?
So Frederick County Sheriff's Office has been involved with the 287G program for 17 years. We are the longest standing sheriff's office involved with 287G in the entire United States. I was the first in Maryland to go after that program, bring it to Frederick County. It is a large part of the reason why we are so crime free, because over the years, I simply have not released criminals in this country illegally back onto our streets to commit more crime. That's the crux of the program. That Reader's Digest version. You're in the country illegally. We identify that you're in this country illegally. And when you're arrested, we determine your immigration status, and we facilitate a process for ICE. It's entirely in our jail, and once you're in our jail, eventually we will turn you over to ICE, and they make the decision whether or not to remove you or deport you. Over the years, we have served over 1,800 detainers where criminals have been removed from our county and they're out of our country. So I will argue with anybody any day of the week that we are a much safer county because of it. I'll stand by that. This program has cost me personally, financially, professionally, but I will stand by it because it was the right thing to do, and it will continue to be the right thing to do.
And last year, I remember that the head of the FBI, I guess, held a national meeting for sheriffs across the country. FBI had said that the illegal immigration has reached such a point that it was inevitable. Apparently, was the FBI director's words, inevitable that there was going to be terrorist cells and terrorist attacks in the country. Do you see that as a either in or as a possibility in Frederick County or in other parts of the state? I guess
I look at it as an high possibility, a high probability when an opportunity presents itself in whatever state, whatever county, U.S., that these terror cells that are here that have come across our border will take that opportunity to victimize Americans. I believe, listen, I hope I'm wrong. I really do. But I really feel that we have been caught because of our southern borders. They've been ignored now for the past 4 years. President Trump has changed that, and I think that'll make a big difference. The problem is now we have to remove the elements that are here. That's going to take a lot of work, a lot of enforcement effort. ICE has a big job to do, and they need the participation and help of every law enforcement agency in this country. And if a law enforcement agency or a government entity refuses to help, it's dereliction of their duties.
And what does it mean when the mayor of Frederick City a few months ago said, I guess, correct me if I'm miswording it, but that Frederick would not cooperate with the program and that Frederick City tax dollars would be used to defend illegal immigrants that were caught by ICE. Is that legal? Does that have anything to do with within your parameters of responsibility?
No, it doesn't. Nothing. First of all, the mayor was foolish for saying that. He's been on the wrong side of this issue forever. You'll never change his mind. He wants this so much to be a sanctuary city, a sanctuary county. But as long as I'm in the office of sheriff and I continue to work with ICE, Frederick City will never be a sanctuary jurisdiction, as much as he would like it to be. And I think it's absolutely wrong and irresponsible that he uses taxpayer dollars to fund legal fees for people in the country illegally. It's just wrong for America.
Mm-hmm. Sir, you've always been considered a hands-on and unapologetically direct sheriff. How do you balance your assertive approach to law enforcement with the diverse communities that do exist in Frederick and Frederick City?
I think I'm a fair-minded person. I treat everybody equally, both within the agency and the public. I'm out everywhere. I'm the most accessible elected official, agency head, what have you, in the entire county. I pick up my phone. I will talk to anybody, any day. I will hear an issue into consideration, every opinion. I don't apologize for keeping Frederick County safe. I just won't do that. And again, when people are tired of me and they think I'm wrong, I'll be voted out of office. Let me just say this. I believe in fairness and opportunity for every single person that's in this country illegally. Absolutely.
So a few years ago, you underwent an unfortunate event where you were indicted for a crime. We were all happy to hear that you were exonerated of it. Would you mind speaking to that?
So in 2022, last election year, the federal government, the U.S. Attorney's Office, came after me and alleged that I committed federal crimes in a conspiracy with a local gun dealer, the Machine Gun Nest. So the entire year of 2022, the ATF investigated me. The U.S. Attorney turned me inside out. They found absolutely no evidence of a crime. So for 587 days, I had this indictment hanging over my head. Okay. And at the very last minute, I was charged with 6 felonies, federal felonies. And they knew I committed no crime. There was no evidence, no proof that I ever gotten anything for signing law letters. I simply wanted to go to a range and see demonstrations of certain machine guns because I wanted to see what my men and women are up against on the street. The ATF allows these guns onto the street. You look at Reno, Nevada, you look at San Bernardino, Orlando, nightclub shootings. Every single one were automatic weapons that the ATF allows into someone's hands. So I signed some law letters, and I'm indicted alleging I got monies for doing. There's never a dime came my way. I never had a cup of coffee with the guy. And they knew that. And by the prosecutor's from his own lips, he said, "Sheriff, we are prosecuting you on a theory, no probable cause, but a theory." I'm bitter. I'm angry. It cost me financially. I know they tried to destroy me. They wanted me to resign. They wanted me to plead guilty. And at the end of the day, they offered me a plea agreement. They said, "You plead guilty to 1 misdemeanor false statement and we'll drop all the felonies." I said, "Hell no, I'm not pleading guilty to anything." And then wouldn't you know it, 1 week after the presidential election, my charges were dismissed with prejudice, which means they can never come back, and it means they were wrong. And also the prosecutor, the chief prosecutor that went after the machine gun net owner, after that defendant was acquitted of all charges and the federal resigned. I was a victim of lawfare. I was wronged. I will go to my grave knowing I was wrong, but I'm not going to give up. And it's because of what I stand for in Frederick County, because the U.S. Attorney at the time, Eric Aaron, a Biden appointee, despised me. He was in the legislature. He despised every time I came down to Annapolis to testify against sanctuary state bills, and he had the opportunity, and he took the shot. And I'm
And
a
he
bitter
missed.
man over that. But guess what? It's not going to impact. It's not going to affect the way I do my job.
Your co-defendant was exonerated as well. Everything was dropped. What I find so interesting about that situation, at this point, I think lawfare is something that people have become generally aware of. The same opponents that did this to you going back to 2+ years ago, they have been doing this to their political opponents throughout the state as well. I mean, there's a school board member in Baltimore County who was put up on ethics charges because she questioned the way the superintendent was spending money and how the expenses were not justifiable for the amount of money being spent. Something similar with a school board member in Frederick County, in your county, because he said that teachers do have First Amendment rights. He was put up on ethics charges. A city councilman in Hagerstown, who actually is the one who put through the no camping ordinance that'll be taking effect in Hagerstown. He was put up in on ethics charges, and lastly, it seems like most recently, a senator out further west, because he literally puts together a book every year explaining just the scariness of a lot of the laws that come out of Annapolis. So it seems like what started with you has become a trend for people who are on the same side of the political spectrum as you. I don't know if you're aware of that, but what would your advice be to those individuals?
Well, I would say fight it. If you know you're right, fight it. Don't admit to anything that you didn't do. They were banking on the fact I would give in, I would break. I didn't do it. Financially destroyed me. But guess what? I didn't go down. Let me just say this. Every Democrat in the entire Maryland legislature, every Democrat county executive across state, every Democrat in every jurisdiction wants me out of office. I am the face of 287G. I'm they voted down raises for me 4 times in the legislature. It's pretty obvious when you connect the dots. It's damn obvious. If they carried me out of here on a stretcher tomorrow, the Democrats in this state would be happy. They'd jump for joy, guarantee you.
Well, we're hoping that doesn't happen, Sheriff Jenkins. And also, we have an election coming up shortly. Have you announced whether you're going to try to seek office again? And if so, what dates are we talking about?
Well, I've announced publicly. I haven't filed yet. I'm actually busy doing my job. I think it's a little early yet. We're in the middle of a city election here in Frederick County, so I think to cloud people with a county election at the same time is not good. So come fall, I will file, and I'll kick off my campaign for my 6th term. Trust of the people in Frederick. And I've even run into Democrats who have come up to me during the course of the IQ. I would never vote for you, but I don't think you broke the law. There's a message in that. And I'm back, and I think Frederick County likes to come back.
Well, I will say this, sir. There are more Democrats than Republicans in Frederick County by and large voting, and you still won the election by quite a few votes. So there's got to be a lot of Democrats and independents and moderates who support you wholeheartedly.
But here's the thing. The Democrats, the old blue dog Democrat families in this county that knew my family, knew me, voted for me, they've either left Maryland or, unfortunately, a lot of them passed away over the years. And those numbers add up.
There's still a lot of blue dogs running around, sir, and they definitely support you. I can tell you, I live out in the Myersville area in western Frederick County, and your support out here, and there are lots of Democrats. Your support out here is very, very strong.
Yeah, and if I could, I would like to revisit the 287 program. Another aspect of it. The largest branch of my family are actually Hispanics. And I feel very confident in speaking upon for a very large portion of the Hispanic community, completely understand that a nation needs to control its borders in order to be a nation. Okay. I think there's a reason why Donald Trump got so many votes from the Hispanic population. And I think that understanding is a very large portion of that reason. With that being said, amongst the Hispanic community, which makes up about 11% of the community in Frederick County, there are some concerns. And I was wondering if I could just run some of them by you and see what it is that you may know about them. One of the concerns that I have heard several times is that the government, the federal government, is using not necessarily law enforcement officers, ICE agents, but bounty hunters. And putting them in uniforms and paying them $2,000 per person that they bring in. Is that true? Not true? What is that?
The rumor in the immigrant population is that bounty hunters have been hired by ICE, and they're paid $2,000 for every illegal immigrant they bring in.
Absolutely not true. Absolutely not true. I have a very good working and HSI, which is Homeland Security Investigations, which locally works with ICE. Frederick County, they have criminal targets they're going after, and they're going to find them, and they're also going to arrest people who might happen to be with those criminal targets who are in the country illegally. So that's what I think the president made clear. Listen, if you happen to be at the wrong place at the wrong time, and you're in the country illegally, you're going with them. It's happening, but no way that they're bound way.
Obviously, Hispanic are being picked up first and then being put in a situation where they have to then prove their citizenship after they have been detained. Can you explain the process by which individuals are picked up and detained?
I really don't know. I don't think that's the case either. Again, the only thing I know, and again, ICE they are not obligated to give me information. But when I call and ask them a question that's brought to me by someone who's concerned, I go find the answer and I get the answer to that person. I don't believe that's going on. What I do believe is this: Homeland Security looks for a certain criminal. They go into, say, the hallway of an apartment complex and they see that person. If there's 4 or 5 other guys or persons hanging around that criminal target and they're identified as not being in the country legally, they're going to go with them. That's been made very clear, okay? That's an unintended consequence or maybe collateral damage, if you will. I don't think there's anything going on you're talking about. But let me make a point. Back about 1 month into the Trump administration, I got a call from the state director of ICE, who oversees all the ICE agents in the state of Maryland. And he said, Sheriff, I wanted to bring a fact to your attention. He said, we have our first list of 65 high profile criminal targets in Western Maryland. Now, Western Maryland is Frederick, Washington, Allegheny, and Garrett, correct? Western Maryland region. 65 targets. He said, how many would you guess are in Frederick County? Now, us being the most populous county, you would think the majority, right? Out of 65, there were 2. And he said, Sheriff, there are only 2 because of what you've been doing with Homeland Security for 17 years, that you've been removing that criminal element. So the targets, it's not a target-rich environment. They're not here.
It says a lot, and I appreciate you taking the time to answer those concerns. But there are fears from good people, and rumors run amok. And it's important that people that are in positions like yours take the time to address those fears. So thank you for doing that tonight.
One other point I'd like to make is that I've got a very good relationship with parts of the Hispanic community. The lady who is the director of Centro Hispano of Frederick, okay, her and I talk routinely. I share all the information I can with her. She comes to me with a concern about a certain or particular arrest. I contact Homeland Security. I get her the information, relay it. I do the best I can to be a fair and honest liaison between ICE and the local community. And I think if I can do that, I think it builds trust in this agency and builds trust in me.
Well, Sheriff, we really appreciate you being here with us tonight. Is there anything else you'd like to share with us before we wrap up the show?
To serve as sheriff for 5 terms. I hope I'm not done yet. Again, I love this county. It's land of pleasant living. My friends, my family, you live in Myersville. This is a great county to live in. We're very lucky, very blessed.
When my wife and I moved to Frederick County, we felt like we had found a slice of heaven, and we still feel that way to this day, 25 years later.
Yeah. I'm up at Myersville quite a bit. I come up there to shoot on Tuesday evenings at the gun club.
Yes, you do. And you also come out to the Lions breakfast once in a while. Make sure you hit us up
close to you.
On the first Saturday of every month. Come up for the Lions breakfast.
Will do. There's also a group of folks that go to McDonald's every Wednesday morning. Sometimes I catch up with them. There's also a catch up. It's the old folks. I love the old folks.
Yes, they won't let me have coffee with them, Sheriff Jenkins. They say I'm not old enough yet. I don't have enough gray hair, they said. Well, Sheriff, we really appreciate you being with us tonight. We appreciate you answering all of our questions. As always, you're a straight shooter. You always say what's on your mind. Love you or hate you, you are what you are, and we're happy to have you in Frederick County, keeping all of us safe day in and day out. Thank you so much for being here with us tonight.
Thank you, gentlemen. I appreciate it.
That's a wrap on our conversation with Sheriff Chuck Jenkins, where we tackled immigration, 287G, and the legal firestorm that he walked through and came out on the other side. Here at Mid-Maryland Votes, we're building something rare these days, a space where people from different sides of the aisle can talk, disagree, shake hands, and share a cup of coffee at the local McDonald's. Just like the old days, only way better microphones.